Virgo, how you doing, guys? Okay, so this is from 15th today. So from now, which is the last half of June, right? Last half of June. How you doing? So we're going to go into the underneath the deck in a moment, but we'll just draw a couple of cards for you, Virgo, Sun, Rising, or Venus, to see what this spread may be about, and then we'll try and relate it to your actual reading. I don't really use this much. I came up with, right, because I've been looking at cards a bit like the Matrix, where, I don't know if you've seen the Matrix. If you haven't, you really should. But you know, when he looks at the Matrix code and he says, listen, all I see is like the lady in the red dress, and like coding and like steak and chips and like brunette and blonde and brunette. But didn't you have a reading before called the Devil in the Red Dress? And I listed it as a song called The Devil in the Red Dress. So you might be dealing with a Capricorn maybe in somewhere, someone part of your chart. But you really need to, because I'm going cold, you really need to look into your Vedic chart, okay? Vedic chart, because the only reason I'm going to mention this is because of the sign that you've got that is underneath the deck, okay? So, but let's have a look. Virgo, Sun, Rising, or Venus. Virgo. So, release your ex. Release your ex. So you've got to let something go to let something in. So this can be your partner, okay? Have to let something go to let something in. So it's a bit like a judgment call in a way, okay? A judgment call. So you've got free yourself first, and then you've got it's safe for you to love. So someone could be scared. So it could be relating to maybe a Capricorn. I'm only picking up because of like the devil energy, okay? But it just might mean that you're scared, or someone around you may be scared, in order to let something go. Now that can be a person, family member, situation, place that they live, or anything like that, or a marriage, or a belief system, or something that's stopping them from opening up. Okay, so thank you. So the reason why this is kind of like drawing or ringing a bell is because you obviously have to let things go to let things in. Right, now, for instance, you've got the sign of Taurus underneath the bottom here, right? But this is like Lakshmi. So this can relate to Venus, right? Now, Venus is relates as like semen, okay? So it means the giver, okay? And then it grows through an ascension through the feminine energy. So luck and fortune, okay? Misfortune. So luck and misfortune. So it can relate to, which you have here, which is the Wheel of Fortune. Okay, now within my natural chart, different, but within my Vedic chart, I have Taurus energy within my Vedic chart. Okay, now within your Wheel of Fortune, okay, because some people do ask, so I hope you've got time, Virgo, but within your Wheel of Fortune, okay, you've got, because I was going to do a video on this, but I just seem to have it at hand, but I've done it out of 10, right, out of 10. So the 10th house would talk about your midhaven, right? Here, for me, would be Leo, right? Which means fortune, okay? Which means fortune. So it's having strength to do that because of feminine and masculine, right? Now, the 10th house talks about, obviously, fortune and then what you would do within career and to be a stable person, okay? A stable person. But you would need to relate that always to your first house. Your first house meaning your karma, and then your 10th house, because it would go to 7 of partnership, and then 10th house of fortune, of what you would do within this cycle, okay? So we'll go on to that, we'll see what cards come out for you. But you've got like, which is a providing energy, which can relate to Taurus. But the only reason why I'm mentioning your Vedic charts is to not worry about actual star signs if they come up. If they do and they're like, yeah, for sure. But you're going to have that, because your Vedic chart will relate to their birth chart, your Vedic chart, and then it relate to soul group lessons that could be within the same star sign or the same. It all happens within astrology. You can tell so much about the type of music that you would listen to and everything. It would tell you literally everything, okay? Because you've got like the provider, okay? Which would be more of the feminine or masculine, because this is like a power kind of like feel, okay? So within the first house here, you've got like what I used to call as like Venus in furs. So you've got like a masculine energy, a provider. So it can relate to you or Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn, okay? Same, you could be like having the same star chart. You could be interested in a Virgo also, okay? But basically a general energy of a provider. But it would be like so you've got both. You've got, it can be a woman that's a masculine energy, and you can have like a masculine provider, meaning like a man, but like a feminine energy. Okay, because you've got mixed comparisons of both. It's a feminine woman in here, but this is more like Venus's reward of what you get through a reward, meaning someone that's grounded, stable, that wants commitment. But some of you can be into Venus in furs, like the public eye, like the selling clothing, articles of clothing or anything like that, you know, your own range of clothing, and it's building wealth, it's building like fame and fortune. So it could be to do with the 10th house. Thank you. The 10th house, fame and fortune. So you can either be in the public eye, okay, or you can literally work, have your own business, or start to create your own business, and it's drawing out like it's drawing out the feminine and masculine in both of you. Put it this way, in both of you. You could be like a single mother father, okay, a single mother father, and you look after the children, whichever way round, but your masculine is kind of like the provider. So it can relate a lot to Taurian energy, but it can mean Virgo, another Virgo, or Taurus. But like I'm saying, please don't worry about star placements. So then you've got a decision. Well, on one hand, I've got my career. I've got this project that I really want to work on, or I'm actually wanting to choose somebody that's more grounded, more stable, that can actually provide for me. But you've got a great provider of feminine and masculine, okay? But the King of Pentacles would be someone that's single, pretty much, you know, single, that's ready to build, that has like general wealth, but like health as well, like a healthy person, okay? So there you go, which is an Aquarius. This really could relate to, this is someone that like has healing hands, is like a public figure to do with work. I'm picking up clothing and clothes designing and that kind of stuff, but it can also relate to like people that do tarot cards, all this kind of stuff, like healing hands, like light workers, all that kind of thing. Healing hands, is there not like a company that does that, healing hands or something? Healing hands, I'm not sure. But on one hand, well, I've got my career, my finances, my masculine, someone that I really want a commitment with, and then I've got my spiritual path, my calling, or an Aquarian. Yeah, which is like someone of the public, definitely picking up like public figure, a speaker, motivational speaker, or a film director, or someone that does clothing that is like, I don't know what you would call it, like God, I mean, when you work for the public, okay, public figure, that's also part of the 10th house, okay, because you work for like the council, but even like doing this kind of stuff, you work for service, okay, service. So when you give over to, say, karma, when you bow down, okay, the reason what they do is because you can't control karma, and it will never control, you know, it controls you. It always controls you. So when you let it control you and you give over your power to, and you bow down to it and say, okay, I'm fine with whatever that is, you will attract in someone that's going to do the same thing, okay? You won't attract in, say, like a masculine, like dominant person that's going to domineer you. You would draw in someone that's like a good provider, because you're a good provider. You're providing service and calling to your karma, meaning that you're bowing down to that, which is a lot relating to like Lakshmi and kind of like the provider. Like a lot of you could have like Aquarius in Venus, you could have a Taurus Virgo in Venus, Taurus Virgo Capricorn, or a Taurus, very strong Taurian energy I'm picking up in Aquarius. Yeah, and it's definitely to do with like the 10th house, and then you've got, you know, your whole Wheel of Fortune, but we'll go over those. But like a provider, a public service that does esoteric public service or works for the public, transport, all that kind of thing. You generally work for the general public anyway when you go out into society, right? So general public figure, but you have to give over to karma. So a reward turns. So some of you could be detoxing, or actually like detoxing from drinking or something, a few of you. You could be like going to a, what do you call it, a clinic. What do you call them? Sorry, like a rehabilitation centre or something, okay, where they have public people that are like peer-to-peer groups. Peer-to-peer? like guides or healers, healing hands, hospitals, all that kind of stuff, hospital workers, people that generally care for the public, you know, like a service, a clinic that come in for detoxing and then you heal them and they go, that kind of stuff. Or if it's to do with like, you know, you're providing them with a service of what you're selling and buying, and they want to buy because what you're on search for is the 1% profit, meaning that this is wish fulfillment, but it's not. It's classed as wish fulfillment in the like book, I think, but it's not, because it's on the search for my wish fulfillment, which is the 10, which is the one more cup that will make me generally happy. So you're in search for someone also very spiritual, but your 1% profit of what it is that you're waiting to come in to earn through your career life. Okay, because you also have your karma, which is the first house. Okay, first house, most important. So it's a lot to do with work and career and family, meaning like well, even like your mother, your father, your provider, the guy, or even the woman, you know, even the woman, but generally someone that is a provider and a good provider too. Okay, now you do have a very spiritual connection with that is generally healing your family situation and dynamic, and it could even be just healing you. Okay, but if you do have like overindulgent, it can be overindulgent. So like you have to release yourself from the past in order to search for that one, meaning that you have to let something go to let something in, so you get the 10, so you get the lesson. You know, you have to let something out to let something in, or somebody has to let something go to start a new connection with this new person or old person, but that has to be a decision that's made by letting somebody go, or a fear or a thought. You know, you're like, it depends through your Vedic chart. Okay, now my moon sign within Vedic is Taurus. Okay, but the degree would be completely different. If it was early degree, I would not be able to express my emotions and feelings whatsoever, and you would get nothing. Your feelings are all generated from your moon sign, from your head. Everything, what you feel in here is generated from your moon sign. Everything, okay? What we do, what we say, what we are, what we touch, what we feel, everything is all created by that, okay? So then pretty much what happens is that creates the feelings, and that's how we can get hurt by what we see, what we feel, what we taste, what we touch, what we don't see, what we don't feel, what we don't taste, you know, all that kind of stuff. It all creates the mind of fear and illusion, okay? So what we go on to, well, there you go. So judgment, passing judgment. Someone could be passing judgment on people of healing. So in order to make this judgment, okay, you get, which is a cycle of 10 and 10, right? But you also have ending a cycle of also 10. Meaning that somebody has to let something go in order to let something in. So if they are connected with life in general, or literally it is someone that you have just met or can meet that is a generally good provider for some people, like Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus people, cross watchers, okay, you're like eyeing somebody up, thinking, okay, well, this is a really good provider. Like he or she, I would pick it up more of a he, but he or she is a very good provider. Also someone very spiritual. But in order for that to happen, there could be something to do with like distance across the world, or across traveling, or the internet, or the communication is just like internet based. But internet based businesses also, but also like spiritually internet based businesses. But like people that also do like t-shirts not yet, but coming up maybe, but like sell what do you call it, where they do merchandise, all that kind of thing, merchandise. So they can be like spiritual healers, all that kind of stuff, or you are one and you're just generally watching for this channel and you sell merchandise on your channel, all that kind of stuff, right? So you have merchandise, you have like general healing, wealth, stability. You have masculine Lakshmi, which meaning the provider, the giver that makes things grow. So you pretty much generally are the provider of your family, within your family dynamic also, okay? But generally something has to let go in order to let something in. So it can be a fear, it can be someone. So if you're connected to someone and you're saying, okay, I'm cross-watching and yeah, they're coming back to me, but they're part of a marriage and that they need to separate first because they're coming back to me, and then still, you have to make a judgment call on that still. Because if you're settled, depends what's happened in your life. I can't really tell you, but depending on what's happened in your life, Okay, if they've done it no in the times, and then they come back and you go, oh yes, it doesn't matter, you're my twin flame or something from outer space, sorry, and I'm just willing to settle to you because we have a spiritual connection. We have spiritual connections with loads of souls. Depends on your belief. I won't push that on you, okay? But you have a general belief of a higher calling, okay? So you have a spiritual connection with somebody. But if you settle, okay, you can go through the same cycle again, because you can go backwards on through a 9 because you didn't get the lesson because we haven't reached the 10. You're in search for that, okay? So you're in search for them, coming back, making a judgment call of a 10 to come to you, but you still have to make a judgment call. Whether you're going to settle for it or whether you're going to say, okay. So some of you could be like settling things of business also, wanting to settle, land a deal and say, well, I've got all this clothing, all this stuff that needs to go out. It's very good. I get people that follow because this is like a following energy, because it's a calling and a calling. So I've got my calling to do, but I also have got work to do as general public and service. General public and service. So it's going to relate a lot to the stuff that I just don't want to bore you with really, but it can be general public service because you have, so it can relate to your 10th house. So you can have an earth sign like in the 10th house, meaning public service. So you've got someone that does this kind of thing of what I do also, and they earn money through it and they draw in wealth, okay? So if you are one of those people and you are watching this, then you are doing really well on your calling and on your path, and you're going in the right direction, but there's something around you where it's crying for your attention, for you to actually learn this lesson and make this judgment call about what it is, whether it's to do with work, whether you've got 2 jobs, because this can be 2 jobs, 10, 2 jobs where it draws in wealth. 2 jobs, you have 3, 10, 20, 30, 3. So you have probably 3 jobs or 3 creative fields that you want to do. So for some, it can relate to having 3 people. It can because you have some kind of fear. Now, someone might say, listen, you can get out of this anytime you want. It's bullshit. This is an entrapping energy, okay? An entrapping energy. Can relate to Scorpio, can relate to Cancer, and it can relate to any air sign, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, but that can be fucking anywhere in anybody's chart. But generally, somebody outside of this ring or arena feels entrapped in something, okay? Now, that can just literally be at work or at home, okay? That you feel a slave to the grave. You feel a slave to the man, to the higher calling, public figure. So you work for general public. It's definitely relating to people's charts. Public figure, that you do certain things as a public speaker and that you guide people, but you also work for general public. So it's also very, very much knowing that you have to bow down to karma. Me, within mine, I have Cancer in the 9th house. Cancer in the 9th house was related to my... So it's the same as, oh God, Donald Trump, funny enough. So pretty much like the boomerang effect. What you're going to throw out is what's going to come back to you. You've heard of that, right? What goes out comes back. Okay, so when you bow down to public service and you are a leader, intoriated person that can speak and that does all this kind of thing, when you bow down to karma, you don't try to control it because you never will be able to, okay? When you bow down to public service and you're a very good public speaker and you give things freely to people and you're generally a caring, sharing kind of person, you will then meet a spiritual connection that could be someone new that is bowing down to you as their king or queen, okay? King or queen. Because you've got like a queen, king, I'm picking it up through channeling, is like, it's like a very good match for someone that you're with or you want to be with or can be with, because you've got like 2 providers. Both of these cards are like Venus cards, like strong Venus placements. Now, it can even be Aquarius, right? But in Vedic, it can be something different. But, well, it's related to mine, really. In Capricorn, I've got mine in Capricorn in Vedic, but I have mine in my natural chart, birth chart would be Aquarius, right? But generally a good provider, it's because you've got like the giver that makes things grow, so it would be a masculine, but also someone that's very balanced within their femininity also, which means like Taurian energy can mean right to the moon sign within Vedic, or moon anyway, meaning that you can express yourself freely, but it would depend on the degree, okay? Spiritual degree, you would have Taurus, and so yeah, you would Taurus and Aquarian, like Taurus, / Aquarius. This part of the degree, which is mine, funnily enough, and you Virgo. I have Virgo in your chart. So I mean Taurus, right? Like this part of the degree of where it starts to hit like Aquarium, right? So within that moon sign, you would be someone that can express feelings really well, but it would mean more of someone that has great traditional values, that would have like very good stability within wealth, but also like a good provider that can get married or whatever people want. He would be open for discussion, you know, but he would be somebody, or she would be somebody that is a good person that can provide for you and your family and theirs, you know. So it would mean like traditional. So it's definitely Taurian energy that's floating around. Yeah, a good provider, you know, provider, but also like I said, someone, so it can relate to some people probably being pregnant, right? Because you have like the giver, meaning semen, meaning like I said, Lakshmi, meaning that it grows within fertile, it grows within ascension, so it grows within the feminine quality. You also do have, and it could be because of either one, traveling distance, and it's to do with children, right? This can be like children, or it can be like the messages are about children or family, or it's travel and it's distance, and you eyeing out somebody because they are actually generally a very good provider, but you still feel trapped in something, or they do, and then you've got like you're on a spiritual calling, and that you need to walk away from something for them to come to this person here, you know. So it's really gonna fucking go into Leo, strong Leo, and then oh god, Leo again, and then fighting and battling of needing to let something go outside of this arena for this to happen here. This here is a very, very, very good reading at the moment. I'm picking up good energy for it. A good energy. Because this can be someone new or old. It can. Because you've got judgment here, right? And you've got like the bottom of the deck, which was the Empress, right? Which can mean like new, because it can mean like new birth to something, like a new birth and a rebirth of something. Some of you, I've just picked up, I hope it's not, but some of you could have lost, because this is like heaven, right? Heaven. I really hope not, and I hate giving over those, and trust me, please don't. That would only be if you know, if you know, because you've got like a femininity, which can mean pregnancy, and then you do have, which I can do in my personal readings, which is heaven, like being, lost and channeling people that have passed and deceased. But you generally do have a rebirth for a lot of people, that the messages are generally about, is to do with the rebirth of now, where there's been a major energy shift, and people that were feminine are now becoming more masculine, or the masculines are becoming more feminine, depending, vice versa. You've got quite a lot of femininity and also masculinity people around you, and this still can relate to some of you through family dynamics, where you've got someone that, I mean, the King of Pentacles and the Empress can be like a controlling pair. They can be a controlling pair, because they are also two very masculine qualities. On a bad spin, it could be like a very stuck masculine quality of why things are like stuck, if it's to do with family and things like that, because these are providers, givers and providers, mothers and fathers, or generally single people that are good providers, yeah. So you have free yourself first, obviously. So someone needs to free up the energy, start to think more clearly. When you clear your energy, and you clear what you I've got to do this myself, Virgo. I drink quite a lot of coffee, but I have sweetener in my coffee, and I need to stop doing that, because as a celestial human being, I can still channel, that doesn't matter, but the fact is that it would make my physical meat suit sluggish, and that I have a lot of work to do, so I could feel like, I just can't be bothered, so it can even be things like that. But free yourself karmically first, because someone feels entrapped, and you've got that entrapping energy there, so it can be them. And then it can be release your ex, meaning that in order to do something, to let something out, to let something start fresh that's really good, somebody has to let go of some kind of fear of someone either thinking, well, are they going to really return or are they not? I'm just going to settle for that when I have this thing that's going on good here. So you would have to let something go to let something in that's good, because you do have good here. So if you're saying, well, that's my partner, definitely they need to let this mother father figure go, or they have to let their ex partner go, and you know that and you're okay with it, they're with other people, it wouldn't be in my field, but if you're in a relationship with someone, but that's generally down to other people. That's also parts of karma and growth and learning. But whatever that is, someone has to finish something to start something with you. However that goes, we'll see, because you've got judgment call of what a judgment would be. Because you've got 3 cycles that are trying to start. 3 things that are trying to start to come in through when you clear your energy also. You clear your energy karmically. We start to understand, hopefully, what this lesson is about. Because you've got 2 lesson callings here. That there is a lesson for somebody that what goes around comes around. It will snap for them. And it's say, okay, well, you're going to settle with that. That's what you get. I'm gone, I'm left, and this is what now I get. This is like my rewards now. My reward is that I've let that go. You've gone back that way. That's what you want. That's what you have. Karma is also stating that's fair and just. Could be dealing with a Libra, possibly somewhere in someone's chart. Okay, so what we will do is, for everybody, and it's still very cheap, and you can run ragged. You can run ragged, yeah! So, over on Patreon, you can have, as you just like, you know the score but for new people, do what you want over there. You can watch all these, your monthlies, and the monthlies for next month, and it's 15.55 on the 15th. That's the number for you, and I've picked them up all day, 15, 55, 15. Okay, so those numbers are for you, but Patreon, you can do what you like over there. You can run ragged. You can have a fire sale. Someone's having a fire sale. Like, everything out, let's sell the lot. right? But generally you can do what you want. Monthlies, everything. All the monthlies for next month will be added earlier. Hopefully, I'm hoping to get round. I do have the summer holidays off from my other job. Okay? And 6 weeks off and everything. I'll be doing loads through that, hopefully, if I might have a holiday or something, but I don't know yet, but we'll see. But this next month will be done early for everybody, but the monthlies will only really be over on Patreon. Okay, and they are there if you haven't watched them. Now this will still be for the time being over on Vimeo. I'm really not made my mind up what I'm going to do yet, but I'm trying to get everybody at Patreon, so much cheaper for everybody, and we will go to tier 2 soon, so you can have everything at the moment. Now, you can watch the rest of this over on Patreon. I will do these cards and then I will clarify everything and we'll see what this time period's about, right? This is for your last half. Still watch your monthlies, still watch your weekly, bi-weeklies, and they're still over on Patreon or on Vimeo, okay? If you want a private reading, the private readings are pretty much like this whole reading, but it will be personally to your circumstance. So then this just saves me typing it out because I keep typing it to loads of people. So generally, if you want a reading for yourself, it will be this in depth, and it will be like from like now till the end of July, okay? And then we will go over all that, and I'll try to go through the lessons as deep as I can and tell you everything about work, money, finances, career, your love life, everything, okay? That's a personal reading. If you want one, the email is in the description along with everything else. Please follow the discussion page. Please go over to Becoming the Change, and there's the business page, and then we can keep up over there if I post anything. Right, Virgo. Hope you have a great last half, and let's get over to there and see what the rest of this is about. But I know there's some good cards coming up for you guys, so hopefully you'll enjoy it because you've got some good positive energy around you at the moment. Okay, so thank you very much, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.